Some of you will have heard me quote this particular gentleman, Frederick Buechner, on Remembrance. He's written extensively and has a book of uncollected pieces. And one of his essays in there is called A Room Called Remember. And I'm going to read it to you. It's a beautiful picture of remembrance, quite poignant. And yeah, let me read it to you. He's recalling a dream that he had concerning remembrance. And he says, I dreamt that I was staying in a hotel room that I loved. I no longer have any clear picture of what the room looked like. And even in the dream itself, I think it wasn't so much the way the room looked that pleased me, as it was the way it made me feel. It was a room where I felt happy, I felt at peace, where everything seemed the way it should be, and everything about myself seemed the way it should too. Then as the dream went on, I wandered off to other places and did other things, and finally, after many adventures, ended back at the same hotel again. Only this time I was given a different room which I didn't feel comfortable in at all. It seemed dark and cramped, and I felt dark and cramped in it. So I made my way down to the man at the desk and told him my problem. On my earlier visit, I said I'd had this marvelous room which was just right for me in every way, which I'd very much like, if possible, to have again. The trouble, I explained, was that I hadn't kept track of where the room was, and I didn't know how to find it or how to ask for it. The clerk was very understanding. He said he knew exactly the room I meant, and that I could have it again any time I wanted. All I had to do, he said, was ask for it by its name. So then, of course, I asked him what the name of the room was. He would be happy to tell me, he said, and then he told me the name of the room, he said, was Remember. Remember, he said. The name of the room I wanted was Remember. That was what woke me. It shocked me awake. It was a dream that seemed true not only for me, but true for everybody. And then he says this, and this is really powerful. He says, there is a deeper need yet, I think, not all of the time surely, but from time to time, to enter that still room within us where all the past lives on as part of the present. The name of the room is Remember, the room where with patience, with clarity, with quietness of heart, we remember consciously to remember. There's a deeper need yet, I think, not all the time, but from time to time, to enter that still room within us where all the past lives on as part of the present. The name of the room is Remember, the room where with patience, with clarity, with quietness of heart, we remember consciously to remember. So we have to remember consciously to remember. And something about remembering brings us into that place of peace. It's when we look forward into the adventures that we're about to go into, there's a sense of peace, there's a sense of yes, because when I remember and I give thanks, His peace guards my heart and my mind. We're going to look at that just now from Philippians. And there's a sense of faith in my heart, and there's a sense of God with me. The same God who was with me before is the God who will go with me. It feels right. It's not harsh or hard or sharp or pressing. It's going to be okay. And that I just love that it's a room called Remember. Remembrance is so key as we remember what God has done, as we remember rightly. And so there's power in remembering and remembering correctly. Our hearts become grateful. Our perspective is corrected. Faith begins to rise in our hearts as we remember what God has done, who He has been to us, how faithful He has been, the miracles He's done, the breakthroughs that He's given us, the provision that He's provided for us. And as we look ahead, even though it may look impossible, we have an assurance, we have a peace, we have a perspective, we have a strength, we have a courage to press on. And that is the power of remembrance and thanksgiving. This is why it is so key for us. I think it's a forgotten key in the body of Christ. I think it's something that we don't do enough. And for those of you who attend Zoom prayer meetings, you know that we always start with a time of thanksgiving. We come before Him with thanksgiving. I think it's such an important discipline to have as people who pray. When we come to pray, we're going to come with thanksgiving. If I'm going to come with thanksgiving, I have to remember what God has done. Such an important discipline and a lost art, I think. So I thank God that He's restoring this to us in this season. Now,